The MoneyPot Channel is a library of educational content created from a biblical perspective. The content provided here on the MoneyPot is designed to improve viewers' knowledge of world economics and events, cryptocurrency, and much more. The information provided here on the MoneyPot Channel is not considered financial advice. Thank you, Jesus, for the opportunity to make another video. Welcome back to the MoneyPot Channel. It is your boy Elijah back here in the flesh. Hope that you're having an amazing day, starting off your week beautifully. Thank you for clicking on this video. I greatly appreciate it. If this is your first time here on the MoneyPot Channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button, as well as turn on the post notifications so you don't miss out on any of the valuable content that we are putting out here on the MoneyPot Channel. Today's video is an extremely important video for us in regards to our portfolios, and understanding that regardless of what happens with the United States dollar, these assets should be able to survive and thrive regardless of the United States economy. Got a lot to talk about. And these two assets, they stemmed from my research and from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Mr. Robert Kiyosaki, tweeting out some hot fire. Why millions to be wiped out? People can see microeconomics, food and fuel prices rising, cannot see macroeconomics. Macroecon is invisible. Protect yourself from macro. Buy gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Silver, best investment in October 2022. Everyone can afford $20 silver, but are blind. This is a tough reality that many people cannot see. The macro, the big scale things that are happening, but they just see the food prices rising and the fuel prices rising and the clothing prices rising. Everything, all the prices are rising, but they cannot see the future. And that's what we are hoping to expound on here on the MoneyPot Channel and talking about big picture issues. And I believe the reason why Robert Kiyosaki is telling us to buy gold, silver, and Bitcoin is because he sees macro. He has been one of the most successful real estate investors around in the United States. And he also was around when the United States dollar got off the gold standard back in the 70s. He knows the cycles. And it is very, interesting that he is telling us to buy gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Now, when I think what he means by Bitcoin is, I believe he's talking about just decentralized cryptocurrencies. The dollar is dying. This is a tough reality that we here as Americans do not want to accept. Ever since the United States dollar was taken off the gold standard, it has lost value. Each and every year, it has lost its store of value. And yes, we have the petrodollar. If you don't understand some of these terms that I'm talking about in this video, go check out some of my past content where I go into detail in explaining these economic terms. But we see that China and Russia and many of the other BRICS nations are dead set on removing the United States dollar as the global reserve currency, as well as the currency that is used to trade for oil, for commodities, for other goods. And that is happening drastically. Are they planning a gold-backed reserve currency? I would say it's going to be backed by gold and XRP. That's just my thinking. We see here that the countries in the East and in Asia are increasing their net imports of gold drastically. China, 160 tons of gold has been imported from the West since April. And India has 80 tons imported since April. The most striking figure to me is the negative 136 tons that have left the United States and gone eastward. You see, we are selling. The United States is selling its gold, we are losing our gold supply. And this is not good. For centuries, gold has been used as a store of value. And ever since we got off the gold standard, the United States dollar is only backed by the full faith of the United States government. And as it's becoming harder and harder for the United States government to pay back its debts, and as the debt ceiling continues to rise, countries are continuing to look for alternatives to the United States dollar and are increasing their reserves in gold, as well as drastically researching and piloting what a central bank digital currency looks like. We Americans need to wake up to the reality that the United States dollar is losing its purchasing power. And we need to start investing in assets that are going to be able to withstand the United States economy collapsing. I love this article here that Peter Schiff put out. And it talks about how valuable gold is viewed. Even for poor people in Asia, they still have gold. And they realize that it has a valuable store of value. It can be traded for goods and services. And they don't rely solely on fiat money. For millions of people in Asia, gold is still the basic form of saving. In the West, people own little to no physical gold when they feel financially confident. People in the East have retained a long-term view concerning gold. Their ancestors saved in gold, and so have they been taught, with the knowledge that ultimately gold doesn't lose its purchasing power. It's all about purchasing power, and those in Asia realize that. Us here in the United States need to understand that we need physical gold because it does not lose its purchasing power. We should not wait until a financial crisis emerges. We need to take action now. The next asset that I'm going to briefly touch on is having digital assets, cryptocurrencies. I believe that it only makes sense. We are seeing the purchasing power of fiat currencies around the world lose the battle against inflation. And ever since COVID, we have seen the printing presses be turned on in many of the top economies. All of the top economies around the world are actively researching central bank digital currencies. And because the technology is now available and we see the inflation rates, it makes sense that cryptocurrency is going to be the next form of currency. Central bank digital currencies are going to have many drawbacks, which is why I believe having digital assets, cryptocurrencies, are going to be valuable for you to have control over, your life, as well as have a currency that has a store of value besides gold and silver. And I believe that if you look at all of my content here on the MoneyPot channel, it's clear which cryptocurrencies I believe are going to be, having the most value and most store value. XRP, XLM, Algorand, yada, yada, yada. Just because we're in a little bit of a down market, that should not persuade you against buying cryptocurrency. I believe that crypto is going to be the future, is going to be building, certain cryptocurrencies are going to be building the foundation of the new financial system that is to come, that is going to run off this technology, the blockchain technology. And there are going to be certain cryptocurrencies that are going to be building the infrastructure for this new financial system on a global scale. We're talking about, moving value for financial institutions and banks, in central banks. We're talking about being able to, put smart contracts onto the blockchain. This is bringing a lot of value into the world, and every major economy is actively researching how to implement central bank digital currencies into their economies. The reason why I'm such a huge, promoter of having digital assets is so that you do not have to be subject to only having central bank digital currencies in your digital asset portfolio. Having precious metals and having cryptocurrency are two assets that I believe are going to be able to withstand a financial collapse here in the United States. And as I continue to see the macroeconomic trends, I believe that here in the next 3 to 5 years, we are going to see a drastic change off of the United States dollar as the global reserve currency. I encourage you as a viewer of the MoneyPot channel to start thinking long term with the assets that you hold in your portfolio. Seriously. I know some cryptos that you can start making money on it on a day-to-day basis, but I'm thinking long term. I want to be able to make sure my family is financially stable, and I know that you want the same. So start developing a macroeconomic mindset with the assets that you have in your portfolio. And that's not to say, and I don't say all this to say that I don't, invest in, a Roth, or I don't have, money tied in U.S. equities, because I do. But I don't put as much of an emphasis and as much faith in those assets. I'm focused on building assets that are going to have a store of value, regardless of what happens here in the United States economy and with the United States dollar. Because ever since COVID, we have seen the printing press continue to go. That's why inflation is up. That is why the food prices and the fuel prices are up. What is going to come of it? We're going to have to make a switch. And the switch is going to be flipped. Make sure you have assets that are going to be valuable when that flip is switched. I believe it's going to be precious metals and digital assets. I hope that you're able to find this video informational, beneficial in some way, shape, or form. Like, dislike, share, subscribe. Do what you do, but I appreciate you. And until next video, stay blessed, stay healthy, stay prayed up. Peace.
Stay up, kid!